Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which obviously we are going to take a look at the 9.4 update that just dropped today, and specifically the tier 10, the Minotauro. Wargaming already advertised the special mechanism this tank is equipped with called Last Shell, which is basically the fact that you need to use all the 3 shells contained in the magazine only in a situation of emergency. But I would like to focus a little bit more on the other aspects of the tank, talking first about the mobility. A lot of people said that this tank was quite close to the T123, and even if in one way I totally agree with you, I would even say that compared to a T123, this one is going to sacrifice a little bit of DPM in order to get more and more versatility. What I mean by that is that with this tank, the Minotauro, unlike a T123, you are equipped with a turret, and this is what makes the difference. Even if it doesn't have the best turn rate because you're sitting at 18 degrees per second, it's still more than enough in order for you to get the flexibility needed to take advanced position, to try to find position from which you can only show your turret, which is the strongest part of the tank, and not the hull, etc, etc. For the top speed, you see that it's only 34 kilometers per hour, but of course, as you are probably seeing right now, one of the most armored tanks at tier 10, it was logical that Wargaming would not give it 60 kilometers per hour. So yes, you are slow, and it's probably one of the few downsides this tank has. For the gun, if we put aside the DPM, which is something that we're going to talk about after, let's say that it's not the best. Yes, in one way you have the chance of getting 10 degrees of gun depression, which makes it really a great flexibility on the battlefield. The average damage is not the best, considering that we have many tank destroyers sitting at 640 alpha damage, whereas this one has only 490, but the penetration is definitely good because I'm equipping it with calibrated shells instead of the improved ventilation. But it's surely going to make a whole difference, because with this kind of tank equipped with autoloader or auto reloader, you don't want to bounce any shells because it becomes frustrating quite fast. The only real problem I have with it is the 0.36 of gun dispersion, which means that when you're playing with this tank, it's either you wait for your full focus before shooting and you pray for the RNG not to mess you up, or you go as close as possible to your opponents and therefore play it aggressively. The cool thing here is that at least everyone will find their own playstyle using the tank. Now, I would like us all to take a look at what Wargaming shared on Twitter this morning concerning the Minotauro, the tier 10 of the branch that we are currently reviewing. Basically, we have 3 categories: shells in use, DPM, and total damage. We already talked about the total damage, and you already know how many shells is in the magazine. 3. And basically, they're telling you what DPM you can expect if you use 1, 2, or 3 shells every time. And you see that the most optimum way of playing the Minotauro is not to use the autoloader or auto-reloading mechanism at all and play only with the first shell, because using only the first, you are going to get a DPM that will go above 2.7,000. If you use 2 shells all the time without touching the last one, it's going to go to 2,000, but of course it's going to increase the total damage output you can make, 980, or you can use the 3 shells in the magazine and your DPM is only going to be 1.7,000, but you are going to inflict nearly 1.5k damage. Of course, in this kind of scenario, this is exactly what they meant by emergency mechanism. Basically, you have the possibility of nearly destroying everything that will get into your field of view if you see that it's an emergency, and that if you don't shoot your 3 shells, you are gonna die. So it's kind of a last chance mechanism that could work well in World of Tanks Blitz, in my opinion, and that is probably more interesting than I thought to work on. But of course, blah blah blah, we talk, let's see what this tank has in its stomach. In order for it to be more authentic, also because I lack of time, and most importantly because I want you to get my real reactions, here is my first ever game with this tank. What I want to do and how I am equipping myself is getting the speed boost on. Why, are you asking me? Because the speed boost will allow me to take those advanced positions at the beginning and therefore play closer to the opponents. It's extremely important to do that, in my opinion, because of course, as you have a bad gun dispersion, as I already mentioned, you need to be close to your opponents in order not to fail all your shells. So there we go, we are trying to get there as fast as possible. And of course, in order to get the maximum DPM this tank has, we are going to play only with the first shell, except if we are forced to use the other ones. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All of them are spotted, which is nice news for us. We're gonna wait for the bad chat probably to peek, and there we go, sniping the first shelling. And you see that the cool thing about having 490 alpha damage is that your RNG can bless you and therefore give you really a better damage per shot. Or you can get trolled like it was my case here. Alright, let's see if we can get the Emil, and obviously let's try not to take too many shots on the side. So there is the Minotauro, we snap a shell, and pook, we pull back. The total reload of the tank when you're using only the first shell is going to be around 12.5 seconds, which is not that bad, but not the best either, considering that it's quite average, specifically at this tier. Okay, it seems like they are playing extremely aggressively on me, because if I try to snap the bat, the Emil is going after me, and if I try to snapshot the Emil, the bad chat is gonna come. Where is the rest of my team? I'm gonna try to make them come to me. Can we use the 10 degrees of impression? Oh yeah, the gun dispersion, guys. Don't try to snapshot too much with this tank. It seems not to be working at all. Alright, let's wait. Whoa, there is a Minotauro here. I didn't see it, boy. Okay, I did not manage to get the shot, and I'm getting flanked. That's the main problem with the Minotauro, in my opinion, the fact that you can get flanked easily and there is nothing you can do about it. Alright, there, we snap a shell. Okay, emergency shell, boys. Why am I using all my shells? Because the guy is gonna kill me if I don't. And this is what the emergency shell mechanism is all about. You see that I shot only because I really wanted to survive, and I really invite you to do the exact same. You see, it served me a lot here because I managed to stay alive, and at the same time we did not take any shots thanks to our great armor. Of course, this armor can be artificially increased by using your 10 degrees of gun depression. For example, here, if I stay like that, you see that my turret is already rounded naturally, so if I angle it even more by using my 10 degrees of gun depression, it's logical that the mechanism from the game will allow me to get more. It's just plain logic. But there are some stuffs that are not necessarily really good here. You see that thanks to my lack of mobility, I'm not going to be able to go after the remaining ones, and they all got snapped without me being able to do anything. But to be fair with you, now that I tested for the first time the emergency last shell mechanism, I gotta be honest, it seems like something really interesting, and the tank itself really feels different than the other and therefore original. So maybe that I'm not as disappointed as I said before when they announced the 9.4 update. So once again, we are gonna go for the exact same tactic. We want to use our speed boost to get among the first one to access aggressive positions. We want to put our tank in all down, and we want to use only the first shell, except if it's an emergency. And this is pretty much all you have to do with this tank, which makes it, in my opinion, one of the few auto-loading tanks that is newbie friendly. So it's cool. Let's see what we can do. Alright, so we are going to try to get closer to that E50M, but as I do not have all my shells loaded yet, I'm not going to try shooting. Okay, it seems like they went on the other side, which kind of sucks for us, not gonna lie, because from there I can't do anything. Alright, let's see if we can turn around real quick. Are we gonna push them? I guess that we don't have the choice because of the opponents on the other side. So let's go. Am I gonna get shot by this E50M? I feel like it. Yes? No? Is he gonna go for my cupola? He went for it, but he missed. That's perfect. Oh no, I can't get those Minotauros, unfortunately. Can I get the... This is bullshit. Alright, let's hide and see if it's possible for us to get a good game. Okay, the Minotauro here is using all of his shells. Really bad move, in my opinion, but I'm not judging too much. Okay. You see that when you are on flat ground, the Minotauro can get penetrated by others if you are a tank destroyer using gold shell, which obviously really reduces the number of people you are frightened by. Okay, let's go back to a safe cover. It seems like we're getting circled and we're gonna get totally obliterated without being able to do anything. Yes, this is exactly what's gonna happen. Oh man, the matchmaking since they merged the Russian and the RU server is just perfect. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. No IS-7, you don't move. You let me go in. I snap my shell. Of course, the Minotauro had to kill me and not the IS-7. And I'm gonna get circled, and now there is nothing I can do, right? Yeah, there is nothing I can do. Yeah. Yeah, you see here the biggest downside of the Minotauro, in my opinion. The fact that, well, when you have a lot of people circling you, and specifically mediums, there is nothing you can do. So what does this game will learn you? That you don't want to be alone with the Minotauro, and you don't want to go into open spaces, because even if you have what seems to be a good traverse speed concerning the turret, because you have 45 degrees each side, it's still not enough to fight Object 140, mediums in general, if they go behind you. So honestly, if I needed to tell you if yes or no the tank is worth it, I would tell you it's what I call an endgame tank. Basically, if you are a new player, there are multiple tanks that are better than this one. Foch 155, actually I see only the Foch 155 right now, but still, there are better tank destroyers to grind first. But if you already have multiple tanks and you are only seeking some collection while having some fun, then this tank can be a nice alternative and a good tank to go for. Which means that if you are a newbie, do not necessarily go for this one, except maybe if you want to improve a little bit by, let's say, learning how to play auto-loading mechanism and things like that. But that's it. It's not the tank with which you're going to be like, wow, this is totally broken, that thing should get nerfed. It's not a Type 71 type of tank. But it's still nice. It's still nice. It's a nice addition. And on top of that, what I really like about it is possibly the mechanism. Now, of course, if we use our 10 degrees of gun depression, it becomes much more interesting. But of course, as always, as it's an arcade game, and even in arcade games, people camp, we can't play aggressively and we're forced to wait. I hate when people camp, guys. You can't imagine how much I hate campers. And in every game, and not just like World of Tank Blitz, but multiple games. But yeah, I mean, that's part of the game and you gotta deal with it. Alright, so what are we gonna try to do? We are gonna try to go on the other side because we don't want to get... Oh, I'm gonna get snapped here, yeah? Yeah, of course. I love it when, you know, you turn and you just want, you know, to go to another position, and as you are unlucky, you get snapped out of existence by literally every single other tank in the game. Okay, so they all went on the other side. We have no support at all, but it's not a problem because I have another shell loaded. Let's see if I can get the Foch. Is he gonna come for me? Wow, you're dumb. All right, perfect. Now we're gonna wait for the whole reload, and yeah, we got clapped before we could do anything. Because we were alone, and because I should have been with the rest of my team, but because I was too slow, I couldn't afford getting there. So yeah, I'm sorry I can't get any better games, but you know how it is. YouTube game, you are forced to upload in the first one because you have people unemployed that are doing that, or not unemployed. I mean people that are YouTubers in general that are that like YouTubers is their job. And of course, if you want to get recognition and be known and your video view before the others, you have to fight as someone that works H24 to get those YouTube videos pumping. So yeah, I'm sorry. My apologies if I couldn't get any really good gameplay. I will try to do a video where we get a really good game. But unfortunately, I need to get back to work in 30 minutes, and in this lapse of time, I need to upload this video. So hopefully you enjoyed. At least the cool thing here is that you don't see a romancing video about the tank. I'm just showing you straight how it was. And to be fair with you, it's not a tank that can work without a good team. So it's probably the good kind of tank that you play when you're in platoon. But otherwise, it's just... I'm not gonna say lame, but average. It's cool because at least it's not broken. I would rather have something average than broken, but it's not the tank with which you're gonna be like, wow, it's amazing. No, it's just normal. It's fun to play because of its mechanism, and it's probably gonna go down in history as an average tank. Hopefully you enjoyed. If that's the case, feel free to subscribe, like, and share. And for those of you expecting the legendary camo, it should be out within 1 week. This is usually what Wargaming does with the new tank. So yeah, the legendary camo is definitely cool. I'll try to get it, but of course for that I need to wait for the release. See ya.